Hello everyone, today we're going to look at factoring out the GCF. So we've already talked about finding the GCF, now we're going to look at using it. So to factor something means to change from a sum to a product. So this means your answer must be a product of at least two factors, something times something. One of those somethings will be the GCF. So if I wanted to factor something like 4x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x, I'm going to first find the GCF. So from last time, recall that I first look for the GCF of the numbers. So I've got 4, 2, and 6. The GCF of those, hopefully we can all agree, is 2. And then each term has an x. The lowest exponent is 1. So my GCF is 2x. Once I've found that, my next step is to divide the expression by the GCF, which we've also already looked at. So if I take this guy and divide by 2x, my first term, 4x cubed over 2x, is 2x squared. My next term is just an x. My last term is a 3. And then my answer is the product of those two numbers. So 2x times 2x squared minus x plus 3. That, again, the product is my answer. I can check it by multiplying it through. If I distribute, make sure I get back what I started off with. Okay, you can always check your answer, which is something really nice about factoring. So let's do some more examples. For A, we have 8x to the 4th y squared minus 24x cubed y squared plus 4xy. So the GCF, again, constant or coefficient wise, hopefully we can see is 4. Every term has at least an x, and every term has at least a y. And the lowest exponent is to the 1 for both of them. So the GCF is 4xy. And then we divide everything by it. So my first term, 8 divided by 4, is 2. X to the 4th divided by x is x cubed. Y squared divided by y is y. Moving on to the second term, 24 divided by 4, 6. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Y squared divided by y is y. And then my last term, 4xy divided by 4xy, 1. Remember that if I have 3 terms, my answer also has to have 3 terms. So I have 1, 2, 3 terms, 1, 2, 3 terms. And then again, my actual final answer is the product of these two things. So 4xy times 2x cubed y minus 6x squared y plus 1. Okay, for B, we have 40, 35, and 30. 40 is 5 times 8, 35 is 5 times 7, 30 is 5 times 6. So what they have in common is a 5. They all have an A, and the lowest exponent is 1. They all have a B, the lowest exponent is 1. And they all have a C, the lowest exponent is 1. So the GCF is 5ABC. When I take my first term and divide it, I have 8ABC. If I take my second term, 35 divided by 5 is 7. A squared divided by A is A. B divided by B is 1. C cubed divided by C is C squared. And then my third term, I should have a 6. The A's cancel. I have 1 B left, and the C's cancel. So again, my answer will be the product of these two guys. So 5AB times 5ABC times 8ABC minus 7AC squared plus 6B. And again, I can always check it by distributing. Okay, don't forget, you can always check it. So let's do a couple more. So for my third one, I'm going to look at my coefficients. I'm going to put it up here so I have a little bit more room. Coefficient-wise, 20, 10, and 30. They all have a 10 in common. Every term has a z, and the lowest exponent is 1. Every term has a w. The lowest exponent is squared. And then only my last two terms have a u. So the first term has no u, so u is not part of the GCF. Okay. When I divide out my first term by my GCF, I'm left with a 2 and a z squared. The w squareds cancel. My second term, the 10's cancel, the z's cancel, 2 of my w's cancel, leaving me with 1, and my u. For my third term, 30 divided by 10 is 3. Z to the 5th divided by z is z to the 4th. W's cancel again, and I still have my u to the 7th. So I have my two answers, I put them together, and my answer is the product of them. Okay, and then I have my fourth one. So negative 36, negative 24, and 48. They are all multiples of 12. So my GCF is going to be 12. I could possibly take out the negative if I wanted to. Two of my terms are negative. I'm not going to bother, but you could if you wanted to. So besides that, they all have at least an x, and the lowest exponent is cubed. They all have a z, and the lowest exponent is 1. And then the first term doesn't have a y, so again, y is not part of the GCF. When I go to divide it, I have negative 36 divided by 12, that's negative 3. X to the 4th divided by x cubed is x. Z to the 8th divided by z, z to the 7th. My second term, 24 divided by 12, is 2. X to the 5th divided by x cubed, is x squared. Y to the 7th, and then I'm left with 2 z's. My third term, 48 divided by 12 is 4. The x cubes cancel. I still have a y squared, and the z's cancel. And again, the answer is the product of these two things. Okay. Sometimes the GCF is not a monomial. So for my first example, I have 3x times 2x plus y plus 2y times 2x plus y. So if you have a problem that's asking you to factor out the GCF and it looks like this, you've got two sets of parentheses, do not distribute them. You want to make sure that they're the same thing, they're both 2x plus y, and that is your GCF. Okay, so again, do not distribute. Leave it as the way that it is. And everything that's in the parentheses, again, assuming it's the same thing, is your GCF. And when I factor it out, I am left with, in parentheses, everything that is not underlined, which I have now underlined twice. Okay, so for this example, we're going to have our 2x plus y, it's my GCF, and then, again, everything that's now in red goes in the other parenthesis. Okay, including this plus sign, which I have a lot of people tend to just disappear, so that plus sign's still there. Okay, so let's try another one. I look at what's in my parentheses, 3a minus 2b, 3a minus 2b. That's good, that tells me that's my GCF. And then I look at what's not in the parentheses. Now I've got a 4a plus, and then nothing after the plus. So what you have to do is remember what is actually there. What is there is an invisible 1. Okay, this is another thing that people tend to forget. So that when I put my answer, again, my GCF is here, and this guy includes my invisible 1. Okay, and again, you can always check it. Distribute your 1 there, and then distribute this guy. You'd have to FOIL it out. Okay, so again, you could always check it, but don't forget that if you have something in parentheses and nothing's in front of it, it's a 1. Okay, so let's try 2 more. So we have 6z times 3x minus y minus 7w times 3x minus y. 3x minus y is the same thing in the parentheses. So that's going to be my GCF. So that's my first term. And then everything that's not in the parentheses goes as my other factor. Okay. And then for my last one, again, what's in the parentheses is the same. So that's my GCF. So again, here it is. What's not in parentheses, again, what's in front of it is an invisible 1, and then plus 3x. So you get 4x minus 2a times 1 plus 3x. Okay, so again, what's in the parentheses, assuming it's the same as your GCF, it's being multiplied by everything that's not in the parentheses, and if there's no number in front of the parentheses, remember it's a 1. Just like if I see an x, I know it's 1x. Okay, so try these out, look at the homework, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.